Our next speaker has a lot of experience in payments and developing payment systems. Elle Kim is Vice President of Business Development at Samsung Pay. It's a relatively new role for her. In that role, she will develop partnerships and products for Samsung. Before that, she was at Google, managing Android Pay in the US and the UK. She enabled Pay by Gmail. She was CEO of Google Payments Limited. Before Google, she was with Visa. She's also been at Lloyd's. She's been at American Express. So huge amount of experience across the whole ecosystem on pay. And it is with delight that I ask you to join me in welcoming Elle. Elle?
Good morning. Nice intro. I sound a bit old. I feel like I've done all this stuff. So I lead global business development for Samsung Pay. I'm also in charge of launching Canada. So obviously I needed to be here. If you Google payment nerd, Elle Kim, this article that I did comes out, where basically this person from the US came to the US to Korea to see what the future of payment will be. So I can talk about payments all day long. I literally can. So when someone said, hey, come on the podium, talk for 18 minutes, I thought, yeah, absolutely. And to be in a room full of other like-minded payment nerds is for me ideal. So I'm here for the next 2 days and ready to talk payments all day long with you guys. So as my intro said, I've been in payments for about 20 years. I've worked at banks, at networks, and in retrospect, at the time I didn't think it was true. I think the first like 90, 95% has been pretty boring. But the last 5, 10% has been a whirlwind. And I truly believe that this is the most exciting time for payments right now. So I joined payments 4 months ago because I believe Samsung Pay will be the most global, successful, best mobile payment solution in the world. So if you think about me bringing my experience in payments, and you match that up with a company that excels at technology, that's fintech, right? Or the other thing is mobile payments, where a mobile company like Samsung joins up with a payment nerd like myself to create things like Samsung Pay. And this is really exciting for Samsung because it's a traditionally consumer electronics hardware company, so you might know us more for our TVs than our payment service. But we're really on this way to really launch more services to enhance so that when you have our phones, you love it more. So there's, Kevin is in the audience, and he leads business development for Canada, and he said, I don't know, the title was supposed to be Hockeystick, right? And he said, if you put anything with hockey in it, Canadians will love it. So it's the Hockeystick effect is my speech. I don't know anything about hockey, to be honest, except in this notion of the hockey stick phenomenon, you know, where things just take off. And I really believe that's where mobile payments is today. And I want to give some examples today of what I've seen in Korea where this has happened. Believe it or not, and the reason I might look a little tired is yesterday I was in Sydney. June 15 for me was 40 hours. Yeah, I did the math, and I don't even know how that's possible. And I was there to launch Samsung Pay, which was, for me, probably one of the highlights of my career. And yesterday, or today, I actually don't even know what day it is right now, we launched Singapore. So 3 countries, because we launched Spain the week before, so we now launched 3 countries, 3 continents in 3 weeks, which I think by anybody's standard is pretty amazing. And I flew from Singapore via Auckland for because my team was like, we gotta get you to Canada. So they put me on this crazy combo of Sydney, Auckland, LA, so I could be here today. So if that doesn't show sort of the commitment and how much I love Canada, I don't know what will. So I'm here today to talk to you about what our product is and to ask for your support and partnership because we really want to launch in Canada. I also came, to be honest, for the rodeo because I've never been to a rodeo before. So here's what I know about Canada and payments. First, I would like to think that more than the typical American, I know a little bit more. I have family who live in Canada. I have a lot of good friends. And I'm also Korean, so galbi, which is the Korean barbecue. The second best place to eat galbi is in Toronto. So every time there's a chance for me to run to Toronto, Seoul obviously is the first one, but Toronto's the second. Look, I know that Canada is an incredibly pay-forward market, right? Innovation, being on the leading edge. EMV has long existed here. So has contactless and mobile wallets, right? That's not a new thing here either. The only thing, so if you look at all that combination of what we're trying to do, it's really, really sort of annoying to me that we haven't launched here yet. So this is my mission, and this is something that I feel like this market and we could really benefit from doing together. If I was here 1 year ago in June, we'd still be about 2 months away from having launched our first product. So now within a year, we've launched in 6 countries. And again, I keep asking, like, why haven't we launched in Canada? We announced this in Mobile World Congress. And this is something that I have a lot of teams around the world trying to do. So let me first talk about our global strategy and how we want to sort of see the evolution of this product. We have 3 things. Number 1, we want to launch all over the world. Like, I get asked in interviews, and I say, well, if I could, I'd launch in every single country where we have our phones. But as you know, launching payments is not that easy. There's a lot of work you have to do locally. There's a lot of partnerships. So, this is our first priority still. In addition to the 6 countries, we want to launch in Brazil. So Samsung's, an Olympic sponsor, and all the excitement of the Olympics, for us to launch Samsung Pay there would be amazing. And I also hold 2 passports, right? So I have these. So in the last 12 months, I've lived in London, New York, then Korea. I travel around the world, and I hope I have a good global perspective on payments. And with the 2 passports, it still annoys me that we haven't launched in the UK. So I feel like depending on the day I wake up, either annoyed we're not in Canada or annoyed we're not in the UK. But I definitely am pushing all of the investments, efforts, and people on my team to make sure that we do both of those things this year. The second part of our strategy is around products. So, if you think about the way people use cards in Canada, like the fact that you take out your card and you tap, it's super easy. So if all we did was create a wallet that did exactly that, it just wouldn't be very successful. So we do a lot of thinking about how do we build products that add value to consumers so they have fun using it, right? And as an electronics company, we get to go beyond just payments. So with payments, you could think about loyalty, membership, and all that. But we also are involved in VR, in Internet of Things, right? Connected car. So our product teams definitely look to see how we take our experience, right? The experience on our phones beyond payments into some of the other cool stuff that we do. And then the third part of our strategy is around partnerships, which is what I lead, and also hopefully something that's most pertinent to folks here today. It's, we need partners to launch. And it's not even just in launching the product itself, but we want to work with partners so that they could help us figure out what to build. So I feel like because I came from payments, I kind of get what that side looks like. And it's nice to be at a company where they don't actually care, they only care about technology. So what we want to do is let you do what you do, which is the banking and the payments part. Let us provide the technology platform. And hopefully together we can create some cool new products together. So this notion of having partners to help develop product with us is something that's really important to us. So I don't know if everybody knows what our, I actually wish I had slides, because I feel like I have to keep you entertained. So I'll try to mix it up with different topics. So let me tell you about our actual product. It's built on what we call the 3 pillars around simplicity, security, and accepted almost anywhere. So anywhere on the phone, if you swipe up, you wake up the app, right? You basically authenticate, and then it's ready to go. This notion of swiping up is something that we were able to do because we have access to the hardware, right? So one of the things that we'd like you to remember about us is that we want to build services with a hardware advantage. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible, because imagine, the consumers are so used to having it simple tap. How close can we get to that? How easy can we make it? Can we make the simplest solution out there? And we hope that we did that with Samsung Pay. The second part, which I think for payments folks is really, really important, is security, right? And we think we have the most secure solution out there today because of a number of different things we do. First of all, if you haven't heard, we have a platform called Knox, as in Fort Knox. It's multi-level, so it's built actually into the hardware. It is certified by 26 countries around the world, and the Dubai police use it. So I'm not like a tech person, but here's a story that I really like about it. So inside the phone, we build in a little tiny little fuse. So if somebody jail roots it or breaks into it, this fuse goes off so that Samsung Pay can never be used again. So it's little things like that where having access to the hardware lets us build a really secure platform. And Samsung Pay sits in the trust zone of that. Second, all of our transactions are tokenized and uses cryptogram. So we never send any real data over, and we think that that's a really secure way to do it. Third, every transaction you have to authenticate. So right now we have biometrics and fingerprint, and I think in the industry a lot of folks are thinking about what is the next generation of that, and so are we. And then finally, if you lose or your phone is stolen, you can go online and wipe all the data. So how are we doing? Well, within 6 months of launching in Korea and the US, we were able to get 500 million users and $500 million to spend. The reason that's significant for us is because people, we sell TVs, right? Like people didn't think that we can be a payments player. And within a year, we've gotten that hockey stick effect that we're talking about. And just last week, we actually reached the $1 billion spend mark in Korea. So for us, that's a phenomenal sort of acceptance of what we're doing and just the consumers really embracing our technology. Now let me talk about the second part of our sorry. This is what happens when you don't have slides and you fly all night long. So hold on one second. Okay, so the third part of the product is on being accepted anywhere. So we have global, we have, we have simple, we have secure, accepted anywhere. So accepted anywhere means we have a technology called MST, which if you haven't heard is magnetic secure transmission. So we bought this company where inside our phones, again, because we sort of have access to the hardware, we built in this little coil. So when you take the phone and you take it next to a point of sale terminal that doesn't have contactless, you know, it just thinks it's a Max Stripe card, it sends a transmission, and so the machine thinks it's a Max Stripe card. So just, you know, from a pure technology payment point of view, I think this is kind of awesome, right? So in countries where NFC contactless isn't as prevalent as it is here, it's really important because you can basically use Samsung Pay anywhere that you would use credit cards. And it's more secure because we tokenize, right, and use cryptograms on those transactions too. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from merchants because they like the fact that they don't have to upgrade and still have the mobile payments work in their store. Okay. Okay. So now let me talk about the second part of our strategy, which is around products. So one of the reasons I think we've done so well in Korea is because I've actually seen people leave their wallets at home there, which is pretty amazing. And the reason you can is because people are using it all the time. So in Korea, you can use Samsung Pay to pay at the subway, right? You can use it to pay, obviously, at any store, whether it's Max Stripe or contactless. We also have loyalty cards built in. So if you tap and pay, sometimes the points are credited automatically, and membership cards too. And then in the US, we have this thing that I really like, which is our gift card mall. So we have over 200 merchants where if you go into the app, you can scroll and find your favorite merchant, right? And then in the app itself, you can select an amount and then purchase the gift card. The funny thing I've heard about these gift cards is people keep buying it for themselves, which is, I don't really understand how or why that is, but if you did get one or buy one for yourself, you could actually download it into the phone, and then when you use it in the store, you just see the barcode. You could also send it by email to folks who don't have Samsung Pay. So the application is much wider. We've seen great feedback from merchants on this because obviously they get great branding in the app. They get new customers to come in. And then we're really seeing this as a really great promotional tool. So in Australia, for example, when we launched, one of the things that one of our partners, American Express, offered was, use your Samsung Pay 3 times, $5 each, we give you a statement credit. That kind of thing around gift cards and around doing promotions is something that we really want to continue to develop with our partners. So with that, I just wanted to show you a short video of all of the product features that we're building for Samsung Pay.
Make your life easier with Samsung Pay's 5 new features. Membership, gift cards, transit, ATM, and online payments all in one place. Membership. Redeem points for rewards and benefits. Gift cards. Keep all your gift cards in one place for easy use. Transit. Pay on the go. ATM. Make withdrawals with your phone even without a card. Online payments. Shop seamlessly in-app without leaving your screen. More than a phone, more than a payment. Simple, secure, virtually anywhere.
So I come to the third part of what we want to do, which is around partnerships. So I have a lot of memories of sort of the earlier days of banking where banks spent so much money and time and energy to differentiate, right? And then in some ways, wallets come out and we kind of flatten the whole experience for everyone. And this is something that we really want to help resolve. For us, we don't compete with banks or networks. We really do want you to keep doing what you do. What we want to do is be the tech partner to see if there's ways that we could help you differentiate again and create a different experience. What's been really interesting for me is we have global partners that I meet with, and we have sort of workshop days where we kind of think blue sky and think what we could build. And I find it really interesting that a lot of it's beyond payments. So a lot of our partners aren't necessarily interested in making the payments itself that much different or better, but really seeing how Samsung Electronics as a company could really create different experiences. So in the US, you might have seen that we launched a refrigerator where you can pay for food and stuff, which is a neat concept, except I think there was problems with the camera because it only saw a certain part of the fridge. So things like that where you're like, okay, you take payments, you take all of the different products we build, what cool experiences can we build together? And that's the kind of thinking that we'd like to do with banks, because that's still sort of the central point for where payments happen. And then for merchants, we definitely want to help merchants solve all of their pain points, right? We want to bring new customers to them. We want to help them reduce costs. We think about sort of that nirvana state where imagine merchants have to stop producing plastic cards altogether. How great would that be? Can we help them create offers, better engage with the customers? And we also are meeting with large strategic global merchants to ask them, what can we build for you, right? How can we design an experience that make people come into your stores or shop with you online using Samsung Pay really different? So I feel like for us, the challenge for all of us in the room is as we think about launching in Canada, what can we build from a consumer point of view, where there's buzz and excitement all around the world, right? Where the consumer looks at it and goes, wow, this is something really different. This is amazing, And this is the kind of launch that I'd like for Canada because I really want the launch here to be the best we've ever had. And so in conclusion, I've been thinking about this, right? Because as I said, I love thinking about payments, and I actually do this in my free time. And I thought, okay, there's one country where we've had phenomenal success, right, which is Korea. And I think the easy answer is, well, you're Samsung, right? But I actually think there's a little bit more than that. So I thought through what I think really made Samsung Pay phenomenally successful, have that hockey stick effect. And I want to sort of maybe share that with you today because when I think about all the components that worked in Korea, not only do I think it works here, but I think we can do better. So the first thing that happened was, when we launched Samsung Pay, every single major bank was available in the app. So imagine you're the consumer and you're really excited to download, and this happens to us all the time when we launch. You download the app and you're like, great, I want to use it, provision a card, it's not there. That sort of disappointment of, wait a minute, why is my card not there, is a really powerful one. I've seen markets where that's happened. In Korea, that didn't happen, right? So there's this instant gratification of when you want to take the favorite card that you use anyway, and the 2 cards that I have in my wallet from the US is literally the same 2 cards I have in my physical wallet. That's really important. So we'd love all bank partners who issue cards here today to join us for the launch. The second thing is, using it anywhere. So that moment of hesitation when you are about to pay and you think, ooh, will it work? That it's a terrible experience. And I think that the first couple of times when you have a new technology or you're doing a new wallet, that will happen. And in the US, it's kind of funny because people still don't get MST and people freak out when they see it working. But as a consumer, the second, the third time that it works, you don't think about it anymore. And that's where we need to get to, where there's no issues with acceptance, so that whenever someone thinks to pay, they just swipe their phone, right? The third part is the consumer itself. So look at Canada. Look how ready consumers are to adopt the technology. You already have it, right? You already have mobile wallets. We just have a different form factor version of it on Samsung Pay. So the consumers definitely have to be ready, because I will tell you that in the US, that's one of the biggest struggles for all of us in the industry, which is not only our folks used to swiping. Now we're like, okay, can you tap, but then also change the phone. So it's quite a lot. And if you think about all the work you guys have done already to get folks to use contactless, just switching it to a phone should be good. And then the last thing I would say is that it was this whole crowd effect of competition. So there are probably companies you've never heard of in Korea where they also have payment solutions. So consumers have a lot of choice. And for us, that was really, really helpful, because there's this phenomenon of where you'd see someone do something and you thought, hey, wait, I want to do that too. So when it comes to competition and folks launching wallets, we really welcome that, because I feel like that helps to build up the whole industry. So if you look at all those pieces that made Korea successful, there's no doubt in my mind that Canada could blow it out of the water, right? We could have the most successful launch around the world in Canada by the time we launch here. So anyway, I wanted to thank you. I wanted to ask for your support and your partnership for our launch in Canada. And I hope that it is literally the most successful we've ever had. Thank you for your time.